On today's video, we are going to be taking thrifted finds and turning them into dark and moody vintage floral decor. My name is Emily. I'm so happy that you clicked on this video. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Let's go ahead and get started. The first project is this tray that my mother gave me. I believe she gave it to me probably 20 years ago. I don't know. I've had it a long time. I haven't decorated with it in years, so I thought that this would be the perfect item to make over for this thrift flip video. Take a look around your house and see if there's something that's just outdated that you no longer like, or head up to the thrift store. I'm sure you can find some kind of tray. I see trays all the time at thrift stores. So the first thing I did is I took out DIY paint in the color Old School. This is a dark charcoal type color. It's a perfect color to get a dark and moody background for this vintage floral decor that we're going to make today. I decided to paint the entire tray with one coat of this paint, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to give it another coat. Now, DIY paint can be reactivated with water, so you do have to seal this paint, or if you get it wet, it can basically dissolve and come off of your project. So I forgot to start filming when I started painting. So here we are. You can see where it has dried, and now I'm going back over it with another coat of this Old School paint. Sometimes DIY paint can be on the thicker side, so I like to mist my projects with water just to loosen up the paint a little bit so that it's easier to paint and it doesn't pool. Okay, so we're going to have some fun with this tray. This is going to turn out really cool. I think you're going to love what it ends up looking like. So I took out the Lattice Rose Paint Inlay. If you've never used a paint inlay, I'm going to show you exactly how to apply a paint inlay, and I'm going to teach you to avoid some mistakes that I make sometimes when I use these paint inlays. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to mist your paint inlay. A paint inlay basically is paint on a piece of transfer paper. So you're going to mist that, and you're going to lay the paint side directly down into wet chalk paint. After you get it laid down, you're going to take your hands and you're just going to rub the paint inlay into your piece so that it embeds directly into that wet paint that you just applied to your piece. Now, what I didn't realize when I put this on was that there's a little bit of a lip at the very top of that, or the paint inlay. I didn't realize that, so it caused there to be a little bit of gap between the edge and where the paint inlay started. If I was to do that over, I probably would cut that little piece. It's only like 1/4 of an inch. I probably would have cut that piece and let it go directly to the edge. It's really not that noticeable. Okay, so after you let the paint inlay dry overnight, you're going to know it's dry because it turns cloudy looking, just like it. You can see it there. So what you're going to do next is you're going to take your water mister bottle and you're going to spritz the tray, or spritz the paint inlay so that it loosens up, and this way it releases the paint inlay from your project. If this is your first time to use a paint inlay, I would recommend that you practice on a flat surface and probably a smaller surface to begin with. It's a little bit more difficult to do a full-size piece of paper like this. This paint inlay comes with 8 different sheets, 4 different patterns. This is one of the patterns, and I absolutely love how it looks. I think it gives the best vintage vibe of probably all of the different patterns that comes in this inlay, except for there's another really cool striped one. I didn't get a chance to use that one, but we're going to use some of the other paint inlays, and I'm going to show you some projects and different things that you can do with those paint inlays. After you pull it off, you're going to see your result, and I think you're going to love what it ends up turning out looking like. But you want to save that paint inlay because you can still use it several more times, 2 or 3 more times, and you want to set that to the side, and each time that you use it, it's going to be more distressed, and it will take some of the paint from each project and it will apply it to the next project. So if I use this paint inlay, some of that old school would attach to the next project that I'm working on, and it would be a more distressed look. So now I'm taking out some liquid patina. That is a DIY top coat and sealer. It also works as a decoupage medium. The reason I'm using it on this tray is because it is good for indoors and outdoors. And in case it gets a little bit wet from food or a drink or something that was on there, I'm hoping that it will work better than just a normal sealer would work if you just added a normal water-based sealer. So now I'm just coating the entire tray surface and then around all of the edges. Last week I conducted a poll on what kind of video you would like to see next, and overwhelmingly you voted for vintage floral followed by dark and moody. So I thought, why not just combine the two and make one video? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm basically taking traditional looking spring patterns and I'm pairing them with darker, moodier colors just to get a different kind of look than the normal light and bright and fresh spring look. Although I do think they still turn out very springy, they just turned out a little bit edgier and kind of a little cooler looking, I think. What do y'all think about this tray using that old school dark color? This color is called Damask. It's from Fusion Mineral Paint. It's an all-in-one paint. It has a primer in it and a top coat, and is self-leveling, so you don't have to put a sealer on it. Now for the final reveal. If you like how this tray turned out, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing because I've got a lot of great videos coming up in the future. The next project is this wall pocket that I actually made over and painted probably last year or the year before, but it got a little bit scratched up and I'm just not loving the color on it right now. So I decided that I would make it a little bit darker and moodier. So I took out that old school color again, and I'm going to give it a coat of paint, and then I'll actually give it 2 coats of paint. Now this color is very similar to the color Cast Iron from Fusion Mineral Paint. So if you have that color or you're looking for a similar color in an all-in-one paint, Cast Iron would be a good choice. If you're interested in purchasing any of the products that you've seen in today's video, just head to the description and I'll have them all listed there. Or if you just want to jump right to my website, I'll have it listed right in the comments. Wall pockets are fun to make over because they're very easy to paint, and I find them pretty often at thrift stores. They just need to be made over, and they're usually very cheap. I usually pick them up anywhere between $2 and $4, and I see them pretty often. Now this particular wall pocket has a lot of detail on it. It's a metal wall pocket, and it has just a lot of raised detail that I thought would be pretty to enhance. So I'm just going to finish painting this, and then I'm going to let it dry. You need to let this paint dry completely and cure completely before you add a sealer or a wax to this particular DIY chalk paint. The reason is if you try to apply it too fast, it'll actually just pull off the paint. I'm now applying a white wax to this. I actually did the front first, but somehow I forgot to record it, so all I have is the back part, which is fine. It's basically the same type look as the front. So I'm just giving this a good coat of white wax, and I'm getting down in all of the little crevices. And now I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe it back. When I started doing this, I realized it almost started looking like concrete because it is gray. Even though it's so dark, I didn't really realize it would look so much like concrete. But here I am taking a wet wipe, and I'm just wiping it back even more so that the dark paint shows through. I love how the white wax enhances the pattern, and now you can see the beautiful pattern in the metal. I love how these white tulips look in this wall pocket. I'll put a link to them in the description. The next project is this rocking horse that I picked up at a thrift store. I had wanted to find one of these, and I never saw these kind of things, and then all of a sudden I saw 3 of them basically within the same week. I've already made over 2 of them in previous videos, so now I'm making over the 3rd one. I used the bow mold from IOD in one of the Christmas gold foils. I'm now showing you the Lattice Rose Paint Inlay. This reminds me so much of Laura Ashley or Ralph Lauren back in the 80s. I had a bedspread that had that solid floral print. In fact, I actually thrifted the same exact Ralph Lauren bedspread for my daughter. It looks just like that rose pattern right there, but it has some periwinkle bows, like ribbons bows within the fabric. But anyway, on this particular paint inlay, you get 8 of these sheets. They're 12 by 16 sheets, so they're very large sheets. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to take out this color. It's called Weathered Wood. It is I would say a dark gray with some brown in it is basically what it looks like to me. It's a pretty cool looking color. What I'm trying to do here is take in the traditional colors of Laura Ashley, Ralph Lauren, but I'm adding these dark colors just to give it a different vibe. To me, these rocking horses like this remind me of something that you would see in a little girl's room. But I thought since I'm adding these darker colors, it might go well in a living room or an adult's bedroom as well. It gives it an antique look, a vintage vibe, but it just looks a little bit cooler looking than if you were just to do it baby pink or off-white or something like that. But I'm also going to show you how these paint inlays look with those colors as well, in case you're just not into these dark and moody colors. The neat thing about these paint inlays are they're very versatile, just depending on each person's individual taste. You can make them look totally different depending on the project that you use them on or the background color as well. If you're interested in purchasing any of these products that you have seen on this video, including the paints, waxes, and Iron Orchid Design products, you can find them on my website, and I will link all the products that you're seeing in this video. I'll link them in the description, and I'll also put a direct link to my website right there in the comments. So if you just want to skip to my website and not look through the description, you can go right there. I also offer free shipping over $100. So if you purchase over $100, I'll put a code right there in the comments. If you put that code in the coupon section, code section of my website, you will get free shipping. So it's just the same as if you were going to a store. It won't cost you anything to ship these paints and products directly to you. Okay, so now you can see what the color looks like when it dries, and now I'm adding a second coat. Whenever you add the sealer though, it always darkens up the paint again. So don't worry if it gets really light, because once you put the sealer, either a wax or big top or liquid patina, it will darken up the piece again. Now I'm taking this rose pattern. I thought it would look perfect on top of this rocking horse. So just like I did before, you're going to spritz it and then you're going to place it directly on to your piece. Now, sometimes I get a little bit nervous or excited. I don't know what you call it, but you see I placed it a little bit in the middle too much. I should have placed it a little bit more to the left, about 3 inches. Because I didn't do that, it's still going to be okay. I'm just going to have to cut some of that section off on the right hand side, or actually I'm cutting it off on the left hand side here, and I'm going to add some of that section directly to the left side of the piece, the rear end part of that horse. So I'm just spritzing it, and then I'm going to add it and press it directly into the back side of the horse. So just be careful. It's just hard for me sometimes to think of all these different things you have to think of. It's not complicated, but then at the same time, there are some things that you have to think about. So learn from my mistake, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to use the part from the right hand side in one of the next upcoming projects. So that's the good thing about these inlays. You can cut them apart if you want to, or you can use the whole sheet, whichever one you choose. And you get 2 of each of these patterns. Now, if you're not a fan of this rose paint inlay, I have many other paint inlays on my website, so you might want to head over there. I'm sure there will be something that suits your taste. Okay, so now it's the next day. It's dried completely. You can see because it's all cloudy. We're going to spritz it again, and then we're going to remove it from the project. Off camera, I sealed this piece with DIY's Big Top, and then I took out the color Bashful Blush from Rethunk Junk. That is another paint line that I carry. It's an all-in-one paint as well. If you've watched this far in the video, please give me a heart emoji. The next 2 projects I had planned on donating until one of you inspired me to make them over. My husband had given me and my daughter flowers in these red vases for Valentine's Day, but one of you inspired me to make them over. One of my customers, one of my viewers, had purchased some paint from me, and I asked them if they had some fun projects planned ahead based upon the amount of paint that they purchased, and she told me that she actually buys the paint so that she makes over items that the thrift store was planning on throwing away, and she makes them over, and then she sets them up and she sells them and gives the donations back to the thrift store. And it's set up in her mother's name because her mother actually volunteered at the thrift store for a number of years. I think it was 17 or 18 years. So I thought that was the sweetest story. Anyway, if you would like to share any of your projects, I would love to see your projects because I actually do get inspired by all of you. I have a free creative group over on Facebook. You can join it. I have the link right there in my description. It's totally free, and you can share your projects with other people, get ideas, meet like-minded people. I love seeing all of your projects, and we can talk more in a little bit more casual atmosphere. I decided to make over these 2 bottles, and the first thing that I did was I spray painted them gold. I thought the first one looked great just how it was, so I just left it gold. I could have gone back with some antiquing wax or something like that, but I didn't really have time to do that at this point. I may do that later. I painted the second vase with 2 coats of Petticoat Pink from DIY, and then I sealed it with liquid patina off camera. I then added a scrap piece of the paint inlay, and now I'm taking the stamp Kindest Regards from IOD. Then I rolled the vase onto the stamp just to give it a little extra character. I had fun making over this vase. I think that this would be a great project to make over with your children or your grandchildren. I think a teenager would enjoy this project as well. If you like this project, give me a thumbs up. The next project is this set of coasters that I purchased. They had a little bit of water damage on them, and I didn't think that I would be able to remove that, so I decided that I would make them over. So I took out my crinoline from DIY Paint. I gave them 2 coats of paint, and then I'm going to apply 2 of the patterns from that paint inlay. After I had applied the paint inlays, I did go ahead and seal them with some liquid patina. But since they are going to be used as coasters, I think that I need to cover them with some acrylic. I didn't have a chance in this video to pull out my acrylic and pour it over there. But basically what you would do is you would mix up your 2-part acrylic and then your resin, and then you would pour it on top of your coasters very carefully. Of course, you got to use protection, and then you would take basically like a popsicle stick or something like that to move the acrylic around. I think I'm going to try that this weekend. My resin takes 24 hours to dry, so I knew I wouldn't have time to finish that and get this video out today, so I went ahead and skipped that part. I will do that over the weekend, or at least that's my plan. My kids are going to camp this weekend for a spring weekend camp. They're so excited, so I've got to hurry up and finish this video so I can get out the door so that they can go to camp. But first I have to finish packing. I haven't even finished packing. It's Friday afternoon, and I need to go ahead and get them packed up for camp. I'm still doing a little bit of laundry. I had 3 appointments today at work. Typically I don't have appointments on Friday, but here we are. I think that these coasters would be a great gift to make for someone. I think anyone would enjoy these coasters if they receive them as a gift. I typically find 4 packs of coasters for around $1. All the time I see outdated coasters, so you can use an outdated coaster and you can use the same technique. It's really fun, it's really easy, or you could also sell them if you have a booth or something like that. You could sell these, but I think they would make really good gifts. I hope that you all really enjoyed this video today. I hope that I delivered some inspiration. I hope that you now see what the paint inlays look like when you add some darker colors, and what they look like against these lighter colors. The Petticoat Pink and the crinoline, they give a different vibe, but I like both of them. I think they all go together well, and it just allows you to create a little bit different mood in your home. I wanted to share with you what's been going on in my life. We've been baseball and softballing all month long. Thank you so much for watching, and check out the next video that's going to be coming up on your screen. And you all have a great weekend.